September 9th. So the September 2023 meeting of the Alamance County Historic Properties Commission will come to order. Has everybody had a chance to read over the minutes from the last meeting? Well, we'll just get a motion on that.
Make a motion.
A second.
A motion and a second to approve the minutes. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Good. Now, have you got roll over there? You want me to do it up here? Okay. All right. So you want to talk about that plaque, those plaques?
Sure, yeah. Currently, we're at a point where we're gonna be sending language over. Robin, you're gonna bring it to families, discuss it over with them, and we're gonna bring it back for the October meeting to vote on the official language.
Everybody clear on that? You know what we're doing. You're new, so you want to know what what we're talking about. You already got it.
Oh, yeah, if you want to give a little overview, sure, that'd be great.
So we've had two people who served on this board, one since its inception and one almost since it, then they passed. And there's been a little time lapse here, but the decision has been to have a plaque made to give to the families of those members, kind of thanking them for their service and acknowledging what all's going on. So we had a subcommittee to get this verbiage correct. And I'm gonna go to the families individually and let them look at it and say, this is fine. Then we're gonna come back, present to this board, have the commissioners approve it, have plaques made, make a presentation. So that's where that is. Is everybody clear on that? Is there anything I left out?
So you're gonna send the verbiage along after you talk to the family? Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna bring it back and then give it to everybody.
Okay.
And it's a chicken and an egg.
Mhm.
Do you get the board's approval and then have the families sign off on it or not?
Mhm.
Or do you have the family sign off on it or not and bring it back to the board? So the decision was it'd be easier to go to the families. And
Sure,
if any adjustment need to be made, get that done, then bring it here
sure.
rather than doing it the other way. That's
And I
the,
apologize. I thought we had decided we were gonna post this thing somewhere and not give them plaque.
For some reason I thought that too.
that may be right.
Okay.
Because we were gonna do two flags. so we could
Right.
Post them.
But the verbiage on it,
Right, okay, all right. Let's get the verbiage down, then decide what we're, no, I'm pretty
Okay.
sure we decided that we wanted to post it publicly, so.
Yeah.
well, and the subcommittee may weigh in on that too. Is that correct?
Right, so, well, first off, I want to thank Rodney for helping us on this project, because just spending some time with him one-on-one was very helpful for me to understand the human side of both of them. So thank you, Rodney. I felt that was helpful, and I also want to thank Lori and Tanya. It was really great working with the two of you. I really enjoyed it. I felt that I was able to connect with the two of them because of you all, so. I know Tanya is not here, but I just want
I don't know what to say now.
to.
I'm just flummoxed.
Just wipe your eye. and go on.
So speaking on that now, Laurie, correct me here. Does the family make that call as to, is it okay to be out there in the public? The acknowledgement or,
I think we've already decided.
Yeah, I think-
That it would be.
Yeah,
right? They
I
make the
think,
call
I
about
think,
that.
I think Eric is correct that the decision's been made about putting it up.
Yeah,
What the family's gonna do is just sign off on the verbiage.
and they're gonna be okay with putting it up, so to speak.
Well, we'll give them a chance to weigh
Okay,
in on
that's the
both of
part
them at
that
the
I,
same
yeah, all
time.
right,
Yeah.
that's the part.
That's what I was understanding.
Okay. This is what happens when months lapse between
Yeah,
meetings.
Mhm.
Okay, so this is just a discussion point. There's no action being taken here. Has anybody got any questions or anything else want to be talked about here? maybe that little piece of paper is gonna be enough. So new business, we've got two members who are up for reappointment. So I think since it's reappointments, we can do both of them.
I don't see why not.
Okay. So Chris, Trey are up for reappointment.
Do I make a speech or something?
Make a motion to approve.
Well, do you want to?
Second.
Wait,
I'll
wait, wait.
abstain.
Okay, so
You paused. I didn't know what to do.
So that's fine. So his question is, does he need to make a speech? So the question to that is, do you want to stay on the board or do you not want to be reappointed?
I would love to stay on the board.
I wouldn't make a speech.
It might kill him.
Yeah.
Well, you talked about learning something every day.
Right? So they-
Exactly. Okay. Now that we got through that, we've got a motion and a second to recommend the commissioners reappoint both Trey and Chris to the Historic Properties Commission for another 3-year term. All, is everybody clear on it? Any discussion?
Just try one.
He expressed me through email that he does. He just wouldn't be able to make this meeting.
Okay.
He put his
That's
out.
fine, but we asked one person. but shouldn't have thought we should.
See, he wasn't gonna make a speech. So that kind of took care of that. But he put his application in, so that infers that he's interested in that. Okay, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so we're gonna recommend to commissioners that they reappoint Chris and Trey to this board for 3 more years. All right, so that's all of our agenda business. Now, we do have some public comment tonight, which we often don't have with the Historic Properties Commission. So I'm gonna give a little bit of a where we are with this, just so everybody's clear. In North Carolina, in a public meeting, there's to be an opportunity for public comments. In Alamance County, it works very well when it works for the boards to hear the public comments, kind of summarize what they are, give them to the commissioners, let the commissioners digest it, and then take their action on it. The planning board has a lot of public comments, particularly on hot potato type issues. And the planning board has no authority other than to make recommendations to the commissioners. Now, this board does have some authority, but it also makes recommendations to commissioners, just like the appointments, what we just talked about. And these plaques, or this plaque, will make a recommendation to them. They'll take some official action on it, go from there. But tonight, we have the opportunity of having some public comments. Now, following the rules, those comments are 3 minutes. And if a board member asks a question, then the person making the comments can answer the question, and they're not held to a 3-minute time limit. As a general rule, it's courteous for the board chair to allow particularly here again with these hot potato issues, let the people tell the board what they want them to hear. For example, if we're talking about cheeseburgers and there's 9 people in the room that want to tell the board we do not like onions on our cheeseburger, then we relax the 3-minute rule, but we only hear it one time. Probably if you got a big enough crowd, there would be somebody who would not want cheese on their cheeseburger. And we give them as much time as it took to explain why not, but we only hear it once. So tonight, unless it just gets horribly out of control, we're just going to dispense with the rules of time. We're going to listen to what y'all have to say. Hopefully there'll be some questions and some back and forth, and the floor is now yours or y'all's, depending on how you want to do this.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Appreciate just letting us talk a little bit here. And we will keep it short anyway, but thank you. So Maggie Moore and myself, I'm Heather Fisher. We're with the Snow Camp Board of Directors, Snow Camp Outdoor Theater Board of Directors. And some of you may have heard of the Snow Camp Outdoor Theater. It was running for 45 years, starting in the 1970s. James Wilson was the founder and the champion of it, really. And so when he passed away in 2017, the theater closed its doors and went into a disrepair. Studio One, the community theater in Burlington, which you also are probably familiar with, adopted the theater 2 years ago and has been recruiting volunteers, getting funding, just putting a lot of funds and hard work into restoring it. And you may have heard that there have been events over the past 2 years, but over this year is really when we're starting to have theater productions again and performances like what used to happen at Snow Camp. And that's really the goal, is to bring it back, to bring back those outdoor dramas, the Pathway to Freedom sort of piece, children's theater, all the glory that was in those 45 years, bring it back, and maybe some new things too. So that's who we are. We noticed there's a residential lots being proposed immediately adjacent to our property. And so we're just starting to talk to folks. We thought that this group, since you work closely with historic properties, you might have some advice for us about next steps. But we're concerned that if someone were to move in right next to our parcel, there could be noise complaints if we have performances at night, which the theater used to have them every weekend during the summer.
Right.
So what can we do? How can we start now at figuring out a way that this could work and we wouldn't get shut down because of a noise complaint? So yeah, we're happy to answer any questions, or if you are able to offer advice, we'd appreciate that too.
I guess I have a question. What's the latest at night your performance would go? Because with you being outside the city limits, I would say that it would have to go really late for you to get a noise complaint.
Yeah, they tend to wrap up around 11. Sometimes even 10.
Yeah.
So in the county, there is a noise ordinance and it's got a time on it. And I think that time is either 11 or midnight. And it can be verified with Ian. He can probably hit a couple of buttons and pull it right up. But if in fact a problem arose, the deputy would go out with a, hold it up, see what they mean, because it's real, to me, specific as to what constitutes a violation of that noise. I'm going to be the champion as far as you're concerned, trying to prevent this from happening. And what I'm getting ready to say, you're going to think I'm being a smart aleck, but I'm not. But if you could have your board raise some money and buy that land that's being proposed for development so that you own it, then you can control what happens on it. You don't have anything to worry about. And I have already said on a couple of occasions that if I win the lottery on a big scale, all of the exits off of 85 and 40 coming through Alamance County to the south are going to be closed. Because I'm going to buy everything from the interstate to the Chatham County line. And people are only going to be allowed to come see me by invitation. But since I'm not buying tickets, I'm probably not going to win, and y'all don't get that to worry about. But anyhow.
So is there something you're asking the board to do or this commission to do?
We're not, my understanding is that this issue would necessarily ever be addressed by your commission. So we didn't know if there was anything we could ask. We just wanted to start talking about it so people are aware.
So is this this theater has been around for a long time, right?
That is
Early
correct.
70s.
Because you spoke to it. Has there any time been a proposal to perhaps that this might have historical significance?
It's on the survey. It's not, as you know, it's not a landmark. It's not a list of landmarks, but it is in the bigger survey. I don't have all the terminology right.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think, but
So it's on the
There's a
SHPO
large
website.
collection of
the
historical
building's been
structures on the
surveyed, is
property.
that correct?
Mhm.
It's on the Alamance County. there's a
Registry.
PDF on your
It's on
website.
it's on the county registry, but it's not designated as a local historic landmark.
Landmark,
Right.
yeah, that's where I was going with this, is, yeah.
And the theater's not an individual building, it's an outdoor
It's
amphitheater.
yeah, it's a
and it is
complex.
Surrounded by buildings that are 100+ years old. There's original colored schoolhouse, mill wheel that was actually used to grind
Mhm.
grain in the 1700s. There's a lot of historic value, it's just never been registered.
So the big issue then is the proposed development right next to it. So I'm not sure that making a historic site is gonna help that much.
Wouldn't necessarily help against noise complaints.
Going to create a big traffic issue. People leaving and coming, and you got the neighborhoods leaving and coming, and I would think that would really increase in that area, right?
There's only 5 lots right now. But yeah, if it ends up being, if houses are lining that road, it's not gonna be the place to live.
Where are those 5 lots proposed?
I do have a printout. Do you want to see,
Well,
I was gonna ask how far away it is.
this is the proposed sketch, and then we also have a printout of our parcel. So that the 5th lot is right next to the parking lot.
hey, so they're on the,
Oh,
what do we
wow.
call it, Drama Road?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
and the path that's used to get to the theater is right next to that lot 5. It would be on septic, so at least. it'd have to be- Yeah, there's another. method.
Yeah, 30,000 square feet per lot is the minimum requirement in Alamance County today. And I'm guessing that these white areas, is this a proposed septic field?
I believe so. There's a legend down there.
Sewer local chamber,
yeah.
okay.
So this lot, this is the septic field.
Mhm.
I'm not an expert, but
Have you all talked to any other venues in the area that might have had to deal with something to this effect? It's like Dewey Brown's place, he would have concerts out there, and I wonder if he might have had
It's literally
any
right across
issues
the
with the
street.
surrounding
So where's the actual?
homes as far as noise or traffic, or up on Bass Mountain.
John Manus, yeah.
Yeah, John Manus, if they know anything particular, or even horror show. The Jones Brothers should know something about traffic and noise.
yeah, so we could reach out to this.
Yeah.
folks, Yeah. see what you mean.
And of course, John and Natalie are probably far enough away from anybody up there on that hill that that ain't gonna be no big deal.
Right.
Do you have any idea of like the decibel level that you'd be creating?
It involves muzzle loaders and maybe an occasional cannon.
Yeah, but that's not gonna be at 11 o'clock. That's gonna be during the show. If you're doing the sort of piece show,
That's our intention.
pick that back up. Okay.
Yeah, and the theater sits back a ways into the woods, so. Yeah, it's not gonna be like a rock concert necessarily, but we are also looking at doing bluegrass concerts, so. If you can imagine just like, yeah, something like that coming through the woods behind someone's backyard. And the other issue might be the parking lot itself, just, there could be several issues, although I guess what you're saying is it has to be loud enough to have a complaint, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then even from an expectation standpoint, like whoever is actually going to be there right next to it. And isn't that part of their, they have to accept the fact. I mean, they are going in knowing that they're going to be close enough to the theater.
Depends on who's set the closing on that. Because if you buy this property, and I'm just gonna say in February, because you're not likely gonna have a bunch of stuff going on in the dead of winter. So they come in here and buy this property in February, close on it. And it sits there for 2 or 3 years before they do anything with it.
Mhm.
And they're out of state. And then they come in here and get a house started and get it built remotely and get moved in and actually move in the last week of May, right in the throes of it. And then because, they've been here, they've seen the property and they've done everything else. And I'm, what I'm saying at the last meeting in this room, you verify, sounds like I'm making up stuff to scare people. But this is the kind of stuff that scares people. Is that a fair assessment of what's going on here, Ian? So they come in here, first weekend they're in their new house. And y'all have the cannons and the long black powder muskets, rifles, what all. And here they see 300 or 400 cars parked next door to their, and they're like, thought we moving out in the country. This is worse than a taco level. And that right there is where you're, now, if the right real estate agent, lawyer, whomever it was done the closing, when you're sitting there signing the paper, said, now, by the way, there's an outdoor theater adjacent to your property. So there are gonna be some functions and festivities where you're gonna have a lot of traffic. If they know that, and they say, great, we both got degrees in theater. This is what we want. If they do that, everybody wins.
Yeah.
But in my perspective, cynical old Rodney, the bigger option is probably, what is going on here? Make the call, and here comes the deputy with his thing up in there. Well, no, they're 2 decibels short of being in violation. You can't do nothing about it. No, now they're mad because the deputy come out and wouldn't do nothing because you wasn't loud enough to justify a complaint. But anyhow.
So as a point of clarification, pull up the noise ordinance. It is 11 p.m. But they also say that unreasonably loud noise is noise which is substantially incompatible with the time and location where it's created. So that also kind of comes into effect there.
And you would think by 11 o'clock at night, folks are wrapping up, getting in their cars and leaving. And like you said, it's not going to be a rock concert. The folks that come over there are probably going to behave and act like they're supposed to. We certainly hope. So anyhow.
And I don't think even in our heyday, did it for the first time in '79. I don't think we've ever had more than 100 cars. That would be our dream, to have 300, but I don't know. And a large group of our patrons are churches that come with a single bus, mostly Quakers, Mennonites, and we can adjust our time. We don't have to have shows as late as, a little bit earlier. So there's a lot of ways to look at it, but we were just wondering, like, what do we need to do, I guess is what we were thinking. We wanted to find out where we stood and, because the theater's been there, like I said, it was there. So if you go by a place and time where it's appropriate, between 8 and 10 at night at a theater, it's be appropriate to have some cannon fire, but we won't have the rowdiness, that kind of thing. No.
How are the acoustics in the theater itself, technology wise?
Well, it's down in the woods.
It's open.
It's
So
open,
it's
but
a-
it's
it's an
down in the
open-
woods.
oh.
Yeah, it's an
Yeah.
open theater, but
Open theater,
it's
yeah.
got a pretty healthy tree buffer around it.
Just curious.
But is that tree buffer gonna be taken away with the development?
That's a concern because
Yeah.
backyards of, which soon would be the backyards, the property is, just running right along where our halfway to the theater is, and there will be at least one house.
You know, I think, okay, so two things come to my mind. One, the best way to have good neighbors is to be a good neighbor. And from where I am right this minute, you guys are doing everything in your power to be that good neighbor, and that is ask the questions on the front end.
Yeah.
What can we do? What do we need to do? How can we make this better? I think this looks to me like reaching out to the person who's developing this property.
Yeah.
And asking about either lot 1 or 5 and seeing what can be done. How can that be included in the theater side and only have 4 houses here, not 5? Now, I know that's gonna take some money, because if he sells that lot to build a house on, it's gonna be worth X. And you would think that in the spirit of doing right, he would have a conversation with you, or she, or whomever it is, I don't know. And saying, I don't know anything about who owns it. If it's somebody from across the street that inherited some land, either needs a little money or don't, but just thought they might do the right thing, that's one thing. If you had somebody come in here from New York City and buy it up years ago, been sitting on it, and now they've got it surveyed and laid off, that's gonna be a whole different. You understand what
I
I'm saying?
think you're nonprofit.
Yes.
Oh, it'd be a great tax diversion.
Maybe establish the situation, shoot a cannon and a few black powder guns every other weekend, I'd pay to come see that.
Okay, everybody come out, we're having a fall festival.
All right, I'll be there. If you're shooting a cannon, I'm going.
That was some of the advice, I don't remember who gave us that advice, said make sure that you are, that people know you're out there, do make noise. Do
Yeah.
let them,
Mm.
especially,
Yeah.
you know.
I really do think establishing the situation and then going to the landowner and say, this is what we do.
Yeah.
So you need to take that into account.
Into consideration.
We've been here since
72.
Make sure the path that the people are gonna walk up is cleared out, and not overgrown, and is visible.
Been working on that for 2 years, solid, it's getting there. Rebuilding, just. Yeah, like I said,
Have y'all had any contact with the owners? I think it's I'm assuming it's Robert Mosley. That's the plat, so I'm assuming that's who it is. So says the plat, Robert Mosley. Have you had any contact with the planning board at all?
That was actually, our executive director talked to one of the commissioners, I guess, and not the planning board. So that could be, that's what we haven't done yet.
Next step.
I think you're doing the right thing by asking the questions.
And it would be great, and I mean, you said in the beginning, it'd be great if your society or whatever it is, as a nonprofit, could raise the funds to buy a couple of those plats.
We're doing fundraisers every chance we get. We have a big Christmas festival of lights, raise money. We're doing a fall festival, raise money.
Have you applied for grants?
We have got several grants, and some of them are contingent on putting on a production, so we have to, we did one production this summer. Just trying to get the word out, more people that, come to these fundraisers and more money, and if we could, we would definitely buy that. land, but right now, we don't really have a budget. Pretty much it.
And when is the proposed date of? I guess, what timeline are we looking at?
We're actually already there.
Right.
We, like I said, we did a production this summer. We're having a fall festival on the 30th. We've got a concert on November 4th, is that the day? We have a festival of lights the first 2 weekends in December, and this has been going on for the last 2 years. We've
Right.
had a garden
Okay.
party in
So you've
spring,
established yourself there already.
but we haven't really made any noise. with any of
Bring
the-
out the cannon.
Bring on the cannon, yeah. He'll even help you
Last
shoot the
concert,
I know. Festival of Lights, who doesn't want a cannon?
I mean, the timeline was more about, the neighboring, the plot. that you
No, we
mentioned.
didn't, we weren't even aware of it up
Yeah.
until we started seeing the stakes going out and stuff like that. It's like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
Somebody bought a lot here, and then after, were you the one that even discovered what it was? I don't know who
I
discovered.
was the first one, but.
Yeah, somebody figured it out that, hey, somebody's bought land and is planning to build here, and we just learned that this year, so.
So you happen to, yeah,
Yeah,
so,
we really don't know what they're, you know.
Well, I would say, Rodney, go out and buy those tickets for the lottery. If you can't. Up one out.
You can't win if you don't buy tickets.
Yeah.
Well, I'll make you a deal. If I win the lottery, I'll buy them 5 lots and give it to you. I'll take the deduction. You won't have to worry about them houses. You may have to worry about something else, but you won't have to worry about them.
Well, thank you. We can give you free tickets to our.
Deal.
Eric's my agent, so whatever he said.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Has that, I'm not gonna say answered your questions because I'm not sure that we have, but has it helped you?
It is very helpful.
Okay.
Yes.
Well,
All this time.
Yes, we know we ever did our thing.
You guys have a website or Facebook page or something like
We do,
that?
have several actually,
If you go to
but
the Studio One website,
Okay.
Snow Camp Other Theater is one of the.
Studio1online.org.
yes,
Okay. Good.
and it has all of our events posted.
it's pretty awesome that you are being proactive about it.
Yeah.
Before anybody making that call and catching you off guard, like you're ahead of it, so that's really good.
We want to be good neighbors and do the right thing. We just didn't want anybody to be caught.
Yeah.
The suggestion of talking to someone like Dewey Brown, see his situation, but he has similar activities on the farm, and I think that would be a positive
Yeah.
contact. Just a reminder of what was said earlier in the conversation.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Get you some corporate sponsors.
do y'all know Dewey? You know who we're talking about?
No.
Okay, he and his wife own the Liberty Showcase
Oh, okay.
Oh. over there. And they've also got, if you're going down 49, they're about the Russell McPherson Road or one of those roads that cuts back through. He's got a place over there and he teaches guitar music lessons and stuff like that right there. So finding him won't be a lot of trouble, and tell him when you call him, tell him that you have talked to the Historic Properties Commission and they recommended that you see if you couldn't glean some information from him to help out with this. And he, you may find him to be more helpful than you thought. He should be a wealth of information for you. And I'm gonna recommend, just while we're talking, if you choose to come to the planning board, be real specific with what you're asking them to do. Because that's not gonna be a trove of information to have this kind of conversation. You want to get that kind of homework done. So when you come in there and say, we'd like for you to do this and this and this, and see if you could prevent this and this from happening. So I'm just sharing that with you. You think I'm wrong?
No, I agree with you.
Okay.
Your planning board is.
It's real similar, but it's enough different that
get very contentious.
Well, there's been some things that did.
I'll add to that, and I live in Snow Camp, so I'm familiar with the theater and everything like that. And I think the whole community is, you know, if you've lived there long enough, you're very familiar with how much traffic is around that area for certain times of the year, for certain festivals, for certain parades, for the drama, for all that. It's almost like you know what you're getting into if you're buying a lot there, unless you're not from anywhere in Alamance County. I would think you would know, kind of have the expectation that this is what's, you know, happened here for so long with the drama, and that, you know, it's continuing now. And I don't know, I guess unless the property owners that are coming in are from, you know, out of town or don't really know the area, I would think that they would kind of have an understanding coming into it, but it wouldn't hurt to just reach out. You know, I don't know how, if you can find out, you know, maybe find out who they are and send them a letter and be proactive and,
But you said the flat says it's Robert Mosley.
That's what it
Number right
says.
there.
yeah.
And it's got a phone number on it, which may or may not mean anything. But with Mr. Wilson's passing, and my timeline's not gonna be right here, I don't think, but with his passing, with COVID, with the fire, and now here we are in 23. So we're looking at a 6-year window, generic, since there's been daily activity in that area. Am I saying that about right?
You are correct.
Well, and
You're
the
100%
parades,
correct.
there's a lot of traffic with the parades that come around there. The 4th of July, and the Christmas parade and all of those things. So I mean, there are certain times of the year where there's a lot of traffic.
The facility was being used, it was being used actually by the Jonas Brothers for a couple of years. Is that right?
2016 and 2017, I believe they tried to put on a production. And, but that would have been the last year. So like you said, 6 years.
And well, just to get all the details out, the past 2 years, I guess a year ago was when we started having events. So you might shave off a few years in that window.
But as Megan said, there has been a 4th of July and
Yeah.
Christmas parade
Yeah.
continuous that was never.
In my mind, having been here for 54 years, I have no recollection of a time when you didn't go to Snow Camp to eat or to see a show, or there've been Halloween productions down there in the drama site off and on, going back into the 70s probably, but the 80s for sure. And then, of course, like you said, you got the 4th of July parade, you got the Christmas parade, you got all kind of stuff going on. But there was a time when if you went down Drama Road, there was something going on there. If the restaurant was closed on Mondays, that's the day when the parking lot was empty. Aside from that, there was activity in that area continually.
Yeah.
Not just on the 4th of July and Christmas, but something all the time. But would you say that's a right statement, Ms.
That
Hadley?
is.
Oh, yes.
100%
Okay. Well, that's what I got. So we are not going to set a short meeting record tonight.
But we really do appreciate it.
Tom Haw River did that. 15 minutes last night.
Oh, 15 minutes ain't nothing. What's our rate? You don't remember what's our short meeting, like 3 minutes?
I have to look.
Call to order, approve the minutes, say something, move to adjourn. I mean,
Maybe 5, maybe 10.
Yeah,
at
that's-
most.
yeah, I think it's less than 10.
One of the Zoom ones.
I rode all the way up here on the scooter, just turn around, and ride back downstairs, and I heard my head say,
Mhm.
so it is,
Yeah, one of them.
that was a great day.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, well, has anybody else got anything?
Yeah, before we adjourn, I guess 2 announcements, one small. As you guys noticed, Tanya no longer work with the county. Our last day was August 3rd. And we're currently looking at filling a position. I think we have settled on someone, but I don't know all the details. That's being handled by county management, so we should have some more details on that soon. And also, working on 2 projects for local designation right now. One for Guthrie Mill Dam and one for McBurn's Church. Those have submitted some reports to state. We should be getting comments back from them soon, so we should see that on the October agenda for voting and recommendation to Board of Commissioners.
What time you go?
Huh?
Where did Tanya go?
She's with Randolph.
What's that?
Randolph.
Oh, Randolph.
Yeah,
She moved from LA to another. Around in Florida.
yeah.
And her replacement, is it internal?
No,
Was it advertised?
it was. Yeah. So that's all being handled through county management. so.
Sure.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
The Macron Chapel application is being put out there. I'm just here today to do some observing. This is all new to me. And should I just wait until, just continue to come to the meetings until we hear something from the application? To see where we're gonna go. further?
Okay, so when the state responds, they'll respond to the office. They won't respond to this board directly. But you are absolutely welcome to come to any and all the meetings that you want to.
Yes, sir.
And if you glean anything out of here, bless your heart.
You can be on the planning board.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know, but I would like to observe everything. until
Sure.
We see where my application is going for with this local church.
There's probably, when the time comes, they'll send it back with some notes. So
We just wait.
yeah, that's right. Hurry up, and wait.
Thank you.
That's what the government does. Hurry up, and wait.
Mhm.
And we'll help you with any way we can with that,
This is good.
other than money. We don't have any money.
Good, good, good.
But far as how to fill the stuff out, that kind of technical stuff, that's what we're here for.
We're in the plan, there's no plaque to it. I just found out that there was no plaque to this property that's 130 years old that has a church on it. So I'm having a surveyor to set up an appointment to come out because we've had a lot of vandalisms in the church. Someone's come in and just wrecked it out and we need to protect that.
Get Eric, come over there with his camera.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Miss Hadley.
I've been working on the Guthrie Mill and Dam proposal. And I have 36 pages on a flash drive and I didn't have technology to scan photos or surveys or deeds, and he has done that. And I appreciate his assistance for that. And he had, he's got the Raleigh, so I'm excited about that.
Okay, well, good.
Is that your driver?
That's Ruth telling me it's time to go home. And for those of you that didn't pick up on the humor in that, Ruth is my 4-year-old daughter. So that's why that's funny. 4-year-old doing that. Anyhow. Okay. Well, other than that, is anything else?
I move we adjourn.
Okay. All in favor? See you bye. Well, how about that
Well,
You're down Snow Camp too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eli Whitney crossed there.
Oh, okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.